أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن على أعدائهم أجمعين من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المبين وقوله الحق: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا قوم إنما هذه الحياة الدنيا متاع وإن الآخرة هي دار القرار. صدق الله العلي العظيم. The first of our salawat and our Amir al-Mu'mineen and Sayyidat al-Nisa al-Alameen. And the second verse salawat and our Hassan and Hussein, the masters of the East of Paradise. And finally, the last of our salawat with the loudest of your voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Mosavi alayhi salam. Dear brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One of the lessons that you learn from this university in Karbala is that you had two people on two different sides. One group of individuals, they had totally forgotten that this world is not the end. This world is just a means to reach an end. And you had on the other side a group of individuals that knew this truth, this fact, that this world is truly just a means to reach an end. One of the problems that we face living in the West is that, yes, the whole world is in our fingertips. The whole world is in front of us. Whatever we want to try and achieve, we can truly achieve it. But in going after the world, what has the Muslim done? They've totally forgot about the reality, the truth, which is the afterlife. In making this life better, the Muslim makes their afterlife worse and worse. How? Inshallah, we'll get to it. But in regards to how a Muslim is supposed to live this life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He reminds, not just this time, not just one time, but you see constantly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding the people about the world to come. Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly reminding people of that world to come? Because that world is the ever-living life. If you look at this human being is very odd. Why? From the time this human being is able to work, whether it be 16, whether it be 18, when they find a job at 25, they all work until what age? Until the age of retirement. Until the age of 60, until the age of 65, correct? From the age of, let's say, 16 to the age of 65, how many years is that? Over 40 years, correct? They're working over 40 years of their life. For what? Over 40 years of their life, they're working for what? How much longer after the age of 65 is this human being going to live? 15 years? They're going to live a total of 70 years? A total of 80 years? Their total age, what's it going to be? 70 years? 80 years? 85 years? 90 years maximum after the age of 65? An individual, think about this, a human being is working 40 years of their life just so 15 years after they retire, just so 15 years of their life can be ease. Working 40 years of their life just so 15 years of their life can be ease. If this human being was to truly think about the afterlife and realize that that afterlife is more than 15 years, that afterlife is truly infinite, don't you think that they would start working for their afterlife better, stronger than they're working for those 15 years in this life? They would. But the reality is that this human being forgets. In what they have in front of them, they forget that it's the afterlife that truly matters. And why is that? Why is it that they forget? There's a book, Busus al-Ulama. It has a lot of stories of ulama and what they have gone through. In this book, there's a story where an alim, he meets his friends after a long time. He meets his acquaintances after a long time. And he's a mu'ammam, he's an alim. When they come over, he's very glad to see them. When he's glad to see them, they start speaking, they start talking to each other. And it gets to a point where the conversation turns to where the friends, now they're complaining about what's happening to them in society, what's happening? The difficulties of work. The alim, he just, listens closely. He listens closely. And when they continue to complain, what does he do? He goes, let me go grab something. He goes to the kitchen and he comes back with all of these different types of cups. Some of these cups are just plain. Some of these cups, they look very expensive. They look very elegant. Some of these cups, they're made of different material. They're not all the same. All these cups, they look different. They feel different. He comes back with these cups and he gives them to his friends. And he tells his friends, fill up the water cups yourself. Fill up the water cups yourself. All of his friends, they grab water cups. They go bring back water. He goes, did you all see something? And they go, no, what? All you wanted to do was fill up the water cup. That's it. But all of you all left the plain looking cups. You all left the simple looking cups. You all left the cheap looking cups and you went for the cups that looked elegant. The cups that looked expensive. When in reality, all you truly wanted was water. Tell me, would the water have tasted different in a cheap cup compared to expensive cup? No. The alim, the lesson he teaches them is, look, what all of you truly want is this life. That's it. That water is this life. The jobs that you have, the status in society that you have, the amount of money you have, that is what causes people the troubles that they have in life. Those are the things that cause the trouble in life. The type of job. You have a good job, I want a better job. You have money, I want more money. You have status in society, I want more status. The alim, he says, in reality, all you wanted was to taste water, that's it. All you wanted was water. But without thinking, what did you do? You all went for these expensive cups. Without thinking. And this is what we have today. We want the best in life. In reality, what is it truly that life is supposed to give us? We think the best here in this world is the end. It's not. These jobs, this money, this wealth, this fame, this status in society is not the end. It's not the end. This is supposed to be a means for you to achieve a better life, and that better life is supposed to be not in this world, in the world to come. In the world to come. And that's what all of the imams, they've always said, what about the mu'min? They've said that for a mu'min, this world is like a jail. For a mu'min, this world is like a jail. When a mu'min finally sees what they have in store for them in the afterlife, they don't want to come back. Why? Because now they'll truly see how free they are. Whereas hatta for a non-believer, for a kafir, doesn't matter how much they have in this world is a jail for them. Why? Because when they see, or this world is Jannah for them. Why? Because when they see what's waiting for them in the afterlife, they'll truly realize, you know what, this was truly heaven for us. This was heaven for us. We Muslims, little by little, without focusing on the afterlife, we're focusing too much on this life. Does that mean that we don't focus on the life and try to make this life better? No, that's not what it means. What it means is you don't forget what the end goal is. The end goal isn't to become a billionaire in this world. The end goal isn't to be as famous as you can be in this world. That's not the end goal. Because that's not what brings people happiness. That's not what brings... If that truly brought people happiness, how many stories do you read? How many times do you watch on the news? Movie stars, they have fame. They have fame. They have money. They have status in society. They have all three of these things. The next day, you turn on the TV, they've committed suicide. They committed suicide. If it truly brought them happiness, then why are they depressed from within? It's because they're missing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted every human being to focus on. Not this life, but the afterlife. They focus too much just on this worldly appearance. even of the people that have money, even of the people that have money, when they give their money in charity, what do they say? It makes us happy to help others. That's where the happiness lies, in helping others. That's where true happiness is. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, a companion, they came to him, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. They came to him, Imam, and they told the Imam, Ya ibn Shulab, we're one of your Shias. We're one of your Shias. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, you're one of my Shias? He goes, yes. He goes, that's a lie. When Sadiq ala Muhammad says that that's a lie, then you have to understand that, you know what? If this individual who's been given the title of the truthful from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he's saying that that's a lie, then that truly is a lie. But this man, he goes, no, that's not a lie. I am truly one of your Shias. Imam just asked him a simple question. A simple question. He goes, do you love spending on yourself more, or do you love spending on your mu'min brother more? Ya ibn Salah, I love spending on myself more. I love spending on myself more. Because our Shias loves to spend on their mu'min brothers more than they love to spend on themselves. Helping others. You see from the life of, from the Holy Prophet, no, not the Holy Prophet. You go to Abu Talib, you go to Abdul Muttalib, you go to Hashim, who's known as the first Sayyid. You go to Hashim. What did they focus on? Helping others. To them, it didn't matter if this individual was a kafir or if this individual was a believer in one God. In the time of Hazrat Hashim, for example, they didn't care. If they needed help, they helped them. They helped them. You come to the Holy Prophet, he taught about helping others. You look at the lives of all of the Masumeen. All of them, they helped others. Whatever they received, they would give it. Whatever they received. Imam Sadiq, he says that he's not a mu'min. He's not a mu'min. Who's not a mu'min? That individual is not a mu'min. That if another mu'min brother reaches into his pocket to take out money and he gets offended. And he gets offended. This is how important this brotherhood, this is how important this brotherhood in Islam is. If a brother was to reach in your pocket without asking you, and they were to take out something, would you not be offended? Yes. Because what is the mentality that you and I have? The mentality that you and I have is what? That this is mine. I'm the one who got this. I'm the one who earned this. When in reality, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that gave it to you. This isn't yours. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's. What has He done? He's given it to you, yes. But what does He expect from you? To spend it all on yourself? No. No. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Who is it that will give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a goodly loan? Qarz al-hasana. Who is it? What is this qarz al-hasana? This qarz, this loan. Is this loan truly money? Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need money? No. Is it Allah that needs money? No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one who gives. Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking for money when He's the one who gives everyone? He gives to test you. He stops giving you to test you. This is what this world is. A test. But in regards to this world, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that know that this world's life, and in this verse of the Quran, it splits the life of a human being. According to Shaykh Jafar Subhani, Ayatollah Jafar Subhani, when he does the tafsir of this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where it says, "I'lamu annama al-hayatu dunya la'abun." Know that the life of this world is what? La'ab. Is play. Play. 1. 2. And then what is it? Walahwan. And amusement. Play, amusement, zinatun. Beautification, 3. And then the verse, it goes on to say, not just that these 3, but it's also, what do you end up doing? You end up talking about what? You end up arguing each other about, you end up talking to each other about what? Boasting amongst each other about what? How much wealth you have. How much children you have. Sheikh Jafar Subhani, he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's basically summarized the human life in this verse. He's basically summarized the human life in this verse, and he says the end part, it lasts until this individual leaves this world. And if you think about it, and he goes on to explain, the first 8 years, the first 9 years, the first 10 years of a human being's life, what do they want to do? All they want to do is play. That's it. A child, what do they want to do? All they want to do is play. Once they get 11, 12, 13, 14, when they're in this age, in the pre-teens and early teens, what do they want to do? All they want to do is be amused. That's why movies, that's why video games, all of this, amusement, correct? When they get to their teens, to their 20s, early 20s, what is it they're very focused on? The individuals, the brothers, sisters that have gone to school here, teens, from teens to early 20s, what are they focused on? How good they look. How good they look. Constantly going in front of the mirror. Do I have a pimple? I should take care of it. Do I have a zit? I should take care of it. This age, they're constantly worried about their looks. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? Beautification. From their mid-20s to their early 30s, what are they doing? They're boasting about their achievements. I have a PhD in this. I have a master's in this. I'm a doctor. I'm a pharmacist. I'm this. I'm that. They're boasting, correct? Why? Because it's that age when an individual finally finishes their schooling here in this part of the world. After they get their schooling out of the way, then what are they busy doing? Talking about how much wealth they've accumulated, talking about the family that they have. And Shaykh Jafar Subhani, he says this last part, it lasts until the end of an individual's life. Till the end of their life, this is all they're doing. Talking about, my son is this. My son is a doctor. My son is a lawyer. I did this. I have this much wealth. Do you see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in just this one verse of the Quran, He's reminded us, or He's told us, the life of the human being? And the problem is that we are stuck in this cycle. And what do we need to do? We need to come out. And there are very few people that come out of this cycle. In order for you to come out of that cycle, you first need to understand that you're in this cycle. And you see what? The Shuhada of Karbala, they understood that. Which one of the Shuhada cared about their children? You tell me. Which one of the Shuhada cared about their wealth? You tell me. They broke this. Hatta the Holy Prophet, what does he say about Akhir Zaman? When he's speaking about Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, the coming of Imam Mahdi, what does he say? One of the companions, they asked the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, will the Muslims be in greater number or with the non-Muslims? He goes, the Muslims, there will be a lot. There will be a lot of Muslims. But they'll be weak. They'll be weak. And he asked him, Ya Rasulullah, how would they be weak? They're greater in number. This is why numbers never matter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Never. In the history of the world, numbers never matter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you look at the history of the world, especially religious history, the people that have been on the wrong have always been greater in number. But to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, numbers don't matter. He goes, Ya Rasulullah, Muslims are more in number, yet they're going to be weak? He goes, yes. He goes, why is that? Because they're going to be engrossed in the world and they're going to forget about the Akhirah. They're going to forget about Akhirah. Look at the Islamic countries now. Look at them. It's sad to say that all of them, I shouldn't say all, majority of them, what are they acting as? They're acting as they're servants of another country. Why? Because they've forgotten about the afterlife. They've forgotten about the afterlife. Muslims not even helping other Muslims. Why? Because they've forgotten about the afterlife. Brothers, sisters, this world is just a means, but that doesn't mean that you and I do not look for a better life or make a better life for ourselves here. No, make a better life. By all means, make a better life. This doesn't mean that, you know what, we have to just completely leave the world, go out to the jungle somewhere and start worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, that's not what it means. That's not what it means. In fact, in the time of the Holy Prophet, in the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen, a person, he came to Amir al-Mu'mineen and he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, I have a complaint against my brother. Shia. Ya Ali, I have a complaint against my brother. What is it? He's left his wife, he's left his family, he's just gone out and he's just doing ibadat. He's changed the way he dresses. He's wearing coarse clothes now. He's not eating properly. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes, okay, take me to him. Take me to him. When he goes, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he looks at him and he gets really angry at him. Nasu balagha. It's a nasu balagha. He gets really angry at him. And he goes, what's the matter with you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you so much. Why don't you use what He's given you? The man, he looks at Amir al-Mu'mineen and he goes, Ya Ali, look at you. You wear coarse clothes. You don't eat the best of food. Amir al-Mu'mineen, the first words that come out of his mouth when he actually says this, he says, I am not like you. I'm not like you. I am the Khalif of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I dress like this, I wear this, and I eat this type of food. Why? So the poorest in my community doesn't say that, oh, you know what, this is supposed to be my Amir? Look how rich he is and look how poor I am. I dress like this, I eat like this because of that. But you, why are you doing it? You are truly insignificant in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're insignificant in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's given it to you. Be thankful and use it. This is what that means. Another companion, he came to Amir al-Mu'mineen to invite him home for dinner. Amir al-Mu'mineen goes and he sees that he has a very beautiful, very nice house. Very beautiful, very nice house. He doesn't say to him, why do you have a house this big? No. He says something very simple to constantly remind him of the afterlife. He says, if only your house in the afterlife was as big as this. That phrase, what does it tell him? That this individual hasn't done enough for his afterlife. This individual has done more for this life than he's done for his afterlife. Imam Ali doesn't say, no, you shouldn't have a house this big. He doesn't say you shouldn't have this much. No. Imam Ali, he just tells them that if only you focused on your afterlife, at the very least, just as much you focus on this life. Just at the very least, that how much you focus on this life. And this is what we don't do. This is what we don't do. And you see that this is what Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, he wanted to teach the people. That's what people were forgetting. They were so engrossed, they were starting to become so engrossed in the world that they were forgetting the afterlife. And the only way for people of that time to remember the afterworld, the only way for those people to remember what true Islam was, required my master Abu Abdullah to stand. It required not just him, but also his family. Tonight, brothers and sisters, I know tonight is the night that we were going to commemorate the shahadat of the son of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. But maybe people think that it was only this one son of Imam Hassan that was martyred in Karbala. No. There were so many children of Imam Hassan alayhi salam that either passed away on the route from Kufa to Sham. So many other sons of Imam Hassan alayhi salam that were martyred in Karbala. But we only speak of Qasim. Why? Because of those sons that were of Imam Hassan's sons, he was the eldest. Of Imam Hassan alayhi salam's sons, it was Imam Hassan alayhi salam who told him, not just him, he told his mother that there's going to come a time, oh Farwa, there's going to come a time when Hussein needs help. When Hussein needs help. And when he needs that help, this amulet that's here, I want you to open up this amulet around the arms of Qasim and give that letter to Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam. Why did it come to this point? If you look at the narrations, brothers and sisters, it's the night of Ashur. Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam, he's on his prayer mat. While he's praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he notices that an individual, they've come and they sat right next to Imam Abu Abdullah. Mullah Hussein, when he opens his eyes, he sees that it's Qasim. And he goes, Qasim, my son, why are you here? Go back to your mother's alone. Go back to her. Qasim, he says, oh uncle dear, I'm here because my mother's the one that sent me here. Why did she send you, Qasim? I want to know if my name is with the Shuhada of Karbala tomorrow. How old is Qasim? Narrations, they think that he's no more than 12 or 13 years old. No more than 12 or 13 years old. Look at what he asked, the question that Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam asked him, and look at the answer that Qasim gives. Abu Abdullah, he asked Qasim, Qasim, how do you find Shahada? How do you see martyrdom? Hazrat Qasim, he replies, oh uncle, I find it to be sweeter than honey. I find it to be sweeter than honey. When he says this, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, or Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he was given this reply. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he hugs Qasim. Qasim, he starts to cry and he says, oh uncle dear, you still haven't answered my question. Is my name amongst the Shuhada tomorrow? Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he starts to cry and he says, Qasim, not just you, but my son Ali al-Asghar, he is also amongst the Shuhada tomorrow. Sallallahu alayka ya Rasulallah. Sallallahu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sallallahu alayki ya Siddiqatu Fatima. Sallallahu alayka ya Hasan al-Mujtaba. Sallallahu alayka ya Gharib al-Ghuraba. Ya Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Brothers, sisters, when Abu Abdullah tells Qasim, Qasim, not just you, but my son Ali al-Asghar, his name is also with the Shuhada. What does Qasim say? Qasim, he says, oh uncle dear, will the enemies come into the camps? Will the enemies come into the tents and they'll kill Ali al-Asghar? How was Imam Hussein alayhi salam was he to tell his nephew that no, Qasim, Ali al-Asghar would be taken out to the battlefield and he would be killed in the battlefield? How was he supposed to tell him this? Brothers, sisters, now the day of Ashur has come. The Shuhada, they're going one by one, one by one. Qasim, he keeps coming to Abu Abdullah and he keeps asking for permission. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he kisses Qasim and he tells him, oh Qasim, you're the reminder of my brother Hassan. Not yet. Qasim, he goes back to Shuhada, they keep going. Qasim, he comes back. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he starts to cry and he says, Qasim, you're the reminder of my brother. How can I let you go? He goes and he comes back. When this constantly happens, he goes into the mother's tent and now the mother, she sees Qasim and she says, oh Qasim, you're still alive. Qasim, the sons sons of Zainab, they've left this world, but you're still alive. What are you doing? That's when Qasim, he starts to cry. Then he says, oh mother dear, I went to my uncle, I keep going to him, I keep asking him for permission, but he won't give me permission. That's when Farwa, she says, Qasim, come here. What did she do? There was an amulet that was tied to Qasim's arm. She takes off that amulet. She looks at that letter. She gives it to Qasim. Qasim looks at that letter and he, with a smile on his face, he takes that letter to Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam. Mullah Hussein, he reads that letter, and that's when he says, Qasim, now I know my brother wanted you to be martyred for his sake here in this land of Karbala. Brothers, sisters, the narrations, they say that Qasim, 12, 13 years old, he had the helmet of his father, Imam Hassan alayhi salam. He had the armor of his father, Imam Hassan alayhi salam. But this armor and this helmet, they were too big. Even though they were too big, he goes out to the battlefield. When he goes out to the battlefield, in one-on-one battle, he shows the enemies the might of Imam Hassan. He shows the enemies the might of the Hashmi clan. But as the narration states, there came a point in time where Qasim, he comes down and he wants to put back on his shoe. When he tried to put back on his shoe, that's when the enemies, they surround him and they attack him. When they attack him, that's when Qasim, he cries out, oh uncle dear, please come and help me. And brothers and sisters, the narrations, they state that for no other shuhada, no other shaheed, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he left so fast from the tents that the enemies, they thought that he is coming to attack them. But because they were afraid, what did they do? People from the left side, they ran over the body of Qasim and they went to the right side. People from the right side, they ran over the body and they went to the left side. When Abdullah, he gets to Qasim, Qasim has already left this world. When he's left this world, what is Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam doing? Some of the narrations, they state that Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he's picking up parts of Hazrat Qasim. Why? Because the horses had trampled his body, and he's taking Hazrat Qasim in his abba. And what does he do? He takes him back to the mother. And the mother, that's when she finally does shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that her son sacrificed his life for Abu Abdullah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un.